What's going on? Jason Parks of The Media Captain. Today I'm going to talk about what makes someone an SEO expert. And this is a very popular question because really when it comes to search engine optimization, you can't go to college for it. There's not a lot of classes. It really requires getting your hands dirty, having a lot of experience and different skill sets that make someone an SEO expert. So as you can see, we have a lot to dive into. Why this is so important is because if you don't find the right SEO person, the right SEO expert, it can set you back years. They can implement the wrong tactics. They can not be following the right strategy. So making sure you know what to look for when hiring the right SEO expert is extremely important. So let's start off with skills. When it comes to SEO, it is not one generalized thing, like you're good at SEO, so that means that you have all areas covered. There's a lot of different areas to search engine optimization. There is writing. Are you a good writer? That is a very important component if you're going to be writing article content, if you're for blogs, if you're going to be enhancing page content. There is outreach. Obviously for search engine optimization, backlinks are really important. So if you're a new website, for example, and you need to boost your domain authority, having someone that is good at PR and outreach is very important. There is technical SEO. So a lot of times you might have someone that's great at writing and PR. Well, do they have any development expertise? Can they do more technical items on a website? So, one thing of working with an agency a lot of times is they will have different skill sets, which also includes more technical expertise. Also, user experience perspective. Google considers and values a solid user experience on a website more and more now. So that is very important also. So when you are looking for an SEO person, do you need someone that's more technical? Do you have a lot of foundational issues of the website? Do you need just someone that's better at writing? So that's a very important question to ask yourself. But as we move on, you'll see that there's also an important management component to search engine optimization where you can oversee this whole process. The other thing is different niches when it comes to SEO. I wrote a blog on the 40 top SEO experts to follow on Twitter. I'll link to that blog article in the description of this video. But it's also important to know the different niches and your business needs. So there are local SEO experts. They focus specifically on Google My Business. And there are e-commerce SEO experts. They're focusing on e-commerce websites that have thousands of product pages, enhancing descriptions, optimizing YouTube videos on the product pages to enhance SEO. So there's the e-commerce component. There's SEOs that focus on small and medium-sized businesses. So if a local business is trying to rank in their local market, there's a lot of companies that are better at that local play than, let's say, a national company that's just trying to rank throughout the entire United States. There are SEO companies that focus on just B2B, business to business. B2B typically requires more product knowledge and a lot more insight and information on the different services that you're writing about. And then there's also SEO experts that focus on penalty recovery. If you've been hit with a Google algorithm update and you're not sure why, a lot of times Google doesn't tell you. That's a whole nother story that I'll get into another day. But, there's people that focus specifically on penalty recovery. So once again, now you know the skills and there's also the different niches. Now we'll get into the business savviness. So there's critical thinking. And for SEO, it's really important to come up with the right strategy. If you don't have the right game plan, you could be working hard on your SEO for a year or 2 years and you're not going to be getting anywhere. So having someone that's business savvy, that has strong critical thinking skills, that can map out a strategy is very important. The example I always like to use is a personal injury client of ours. Before they came on board with our agency, they were with another company. They were really focusing on workers' compensation for this attorney. Workers' compensation was less than 10% of his overall revenue, so all of this time was being developed into optimizing these pages that really had no value for the client. Research. Research is very important because you need to look up competitor websites. You need to be looking up keyword data and information. So just obviously doing the proper research is critical. Having experience. I got into the SEO world in 2010. I've been at this for 10 years. I have optimized thousands of websites at this point in time. I've helped a billion-dollar insurance company recover from a Google penalty. So when you have experience, you just gain knowledge that cannot be taught. And so I don't care what school you went to, what classes you took, nothing from an SEO perspective is going to beat experience. There's the ability to adapt. I mean, being able to pivot quickly is very important. If you see within your keyword rankings that they've suddenly dropped, well, you have to dig into that issue, figure out the root of that issue, and then be able to pivot from there. This one's very important. There's delegation and management skills. So a strong SEO person, they might not be a technical expert, but they can have the oversight to know what needs to be done and delegate accordingly. I mean, the same thing goes for all of these different areas. Like somebody who's very skilled in SEO will know what to delegate, which is really one of the most important things. But to think that everything can be done by one person, it's typically not the case unless you have like a very simple WordPress website that foundationally and structurally is good. Lastly is constantly learning. People ask me all the time, Jason, what's your favorite, what SEO book do you recommend? And I just say, get a Twitter account, follow the top SEOs on Twitter, because there are thousands of algorithm updates happening on a yearly basis. So to stay abreast on all of the news, you have to be following all of these updates on Twitter because that's where the real-time news is happening. And it's free, and the SEO community on Twitter is awesome. So there you have it. Those are some of the things that make someone an SEO expert, and this should help you formulate proper questions to ask when you're vetting whether you're hiring someone in-house or looking for an agency. Thank you.